The Greek polis, or city-state. A polis is just a city-state. That's all it is. City-state is a city that has its own government. That's all it means. So it doesn't rely on anybody else to protect it. You can see right, this picture is a picture of the Acropolis of Athens. The Acropolis just means hill, so you can see there's a hill here. And this building right here was called the Parthenon. It's still there, but it's all in ruins now. Alright. Okay, this slide here, do now, please identify now. Grab the text. No, don't grab the textbook. Don't do that. Alright, so these 6, we need to put them in the right places here. So A, that's Athens. So, hey, A for Athens. That works out. Athens, Athens. Cross that off the list. And it's right here. So remember the map that you're going to take a quiz on? Might have postponed that quiz, I'm not sure. But this map will help you with the quiz also. B is for Sparta. Yep. This is Rancho. Sparta. Alright. Rancho. B right there. C is Corinth. C for Corinth. That was also a popular city back then. Corinth, Corinth. And they're spelled right here, so you can see there. I don't know why I'm spelling it out for you. It's written right there. D. D down here, that's the island of Crete. So, Crete. Oh, that's for sure going to be on the quiz. Crete, down here. This whole island is Crete. E. E is, nobody remembers this one. Nobody really cares. Except me. Cyclades. There's an island there. And then finally, roads. Which some people do care about roads. Because then how will you drive your car without roads? Get it? Alright, so that's that. Here's another map of Greece over here. Troy is over here. On and on and on. Okay. Let's see. Please identify them. We did that already. A is Athens. B is Sparta. Do you guys even have this on your... I don't think you have this on your... let's skip it. You don't have it. Objectives. Students will define... There's nothing to write there. Students will define the term city-state or polis. So a city-state equals polis. That's what it is. And explain why the ancient Greeks formed city-states and how they benefited from them. So we got 3 things. Define why they made them, how they benefited. Alright, so what are we doing today? What are we doing? The polis or city-state. Alright, so this is where we start taking some notes. What is a polis? The definition, here we go. That's number 1 we're looking for, remember? The Greek word for city-state is polis. The Greek is what you want to write down. Greek word for city-state is polis. What is a city-state? A city-state is a colony or small group, small is the word, of people living closely together. That just doesn't seem right to me. I would say it's a city with its own government that doesn't need to rely on anybody else for protection. Like Pittsburgh wouldn't be a city-state because it relies on the county for protection. It relies on the state of California for protection, and ultimately on the country of the United States for protection. But back then, like Athens, they didn't belong to any real country. There was nothing. It was just they were on their own. Next. Oh, hey, fancy picture. So, oh, this is the picture I was telling you about. This is the Parthenon. You can see people go visit it, and it's in ruins now. And they try to like rebuild it so it looks better because it was blown up a long time ago. All right, when did the city-states happen? The creation of city-states. It's still we're still on the first page at the bottom. Creation of cities marks a time in. That's too many ins. In Greek history, known as the Classical Age. Classical. That just means like the best times. So think about the best times in Pittsburgh, and that would be the Classical Age of Pittsburgh. Is there such a thing? A time of great achievements. All right, classical. All right, so go ahead, turn the page. Let's get to the next one. This is about why the ancient Greeks decided to establish colonies or city-states. So colony, it could be a city-state, but it's this is a way outside of Greece, basically. A colony would be outside of Greece. So the Greeks, remember they became good shipbuilders and they started trading through the seas, the Aegean Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. So they would go like to Spain, into Italy, and they'd actually establish little city-states there. And those were called colonies. If they were inside Greece, then they were just called city-states or polis. They were not colonies. All right, so they wanted to develop is the word, develop trade. So this is the why. This is number 2 here. I think all of these are number 2. Why did they develop? So they wanted to develop trade. And circle trade. It was a way to get to know their neighbors and deal with the growing population. So deal with growing population. You don't have to write that down, but just circle it in your paper. Yeah, Greece was getting too big, too populated. And then it created security. I'm going to write that down. Security just means safety. Safety, being safe. So these city-states gave them a safe place to live. All right, so there you go. So we got trade. So why did they build colonies or city-states? Because trade. They wanted to deal with the growing population and they wanted security. What is one reason the ancient Greeks formed it? Well, I just gave you 3 right here. Boom, boom, bang. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we're still on the same page. The Acropolis. Let's move on to the Acropolis. The Acropolis just means hill. It's just means a hill. Yeah, I can do that. In Greek. See, it's a high hill. So forgot to put high hill. The ancient Greeks would build fortresses. Write that down so you can see fortress right here, like I told you. Actually, that's not much of a fortress. That's more like a... Oops, that's a mistake. That's like a place of worship. If this is Athens, the Parthenon was more like a place of worship. I guess it could have been used as a fortress. I just don't think it would have been that big to hold everybody. All right, anyway. A large strong building on top of the Acropolis. There it is, on top of the hill. All right, so that's what Acropolis is. Next slide. Life in the city-state. City-states were built around. Yeah, around. That's the word you want. Around the Acropolis. Remember, Acropolis equals hill. So you can see the city here. It's around the hill. And on top of the hill, you have the fortress or place of worship. There's a lot of places of worship around here. One right here, one right there. They did that for protect. Then they surrounded themselves with walls for protection. And where am I? Farmers lived outside of those city walls. Poor farmers. So they would have been like out here with their farmland, with their donkeys and stuff. Maybe a little house right here. Wife over here nagging at her husband. Make sure you get all the wheat out of there. Let's see. Women, children, and elderly gathered inside the walls for safety. Yeah, remember we talked about safety, security. That's another way of saying security. So that's the word you want to write down. And that is life in the city-state. Wow, how boring. It's got to be more than that. We're trapped around these walls. CFU on the opposite page in your notebook. We don't use notebooks anymore. Explain how the ancient Greeks built their city-states and explain why they were built this way. Use several complete sentences? Wow. Well, I consider several to be at least 4 sentences. That's my take. 3 is a few. 3 equals a few. If I say a few sentences, 3. If I say a couple would be 2. That's right, 2. No, not 3. No. You don't say, oh, look at that cute couple over there, and there's like 2 dudes and a girl, right? No. 2. Well, some people do, but anyway, that's something else. Couples 2. So there is no backs. You would have to go to the 3rd page to do that. So you can do that later. Actually, pause the video and do it now. Okay, let's continue. Life in the city-state. All right, life. This is on the 2nd page at the bottom. Life focused on the marketplace or agora. So agora is just the word for marketplace in Greek. Greek for marketplace. The marketplace also served as a meeting place because it was large, open area. And you can see right here the agora. That's not a very good picture there. But you ever been like to the swap meet? What do you call it? Oh, what is it called over there in Concord? Right there. What is it? La Pulga. Yeah, that. It was kind of like that. Large open area. You had like little shops. Not shops, but vendors, with their tents up to protect them from the sun and all that. So it's kind of like that. That's the agora. So when you think of agora, think La Pulga. Let's go to La Pulga. La Pulga. That doesn't sound too good. All right, life in the city-state continue, provided security, nothing to write there. We know that. Gave people an identity. Yes, it did. Very much so. Like today, you don't have to write, just circle identity. Today we identify ourselves like we say we're either American or Mexican, Salvadorian. We identify ourselves with our country. But back then, they didn't do that. They identified themselves with their city-state. So, like, if you went up to somebody back then who lived in Athens, they would say they were Athenian. They wouldn't say they were Greek. They would say they were Athenian. So that's identity. People thought of themselves as belonging to a city. That's right. Write city down. People were expected to participate in community affairs. I think expected is the word you need to write down. Yeah, expected. They needed to participate in community affairs like the economy and government. Unlike this country, we don't want to vote. Most people don't vote. That's just the fact. Eventually, colonies were established throughout the Mediterranean. So the Mediterranean was the sea. That's it for that page. Let's turn the page. Last page. Almost done here. Trade in ancient Greece. Colonies and city-states traded with one another. Colonies traded copper. Copper is a type of metal. Copper and iron. Pennies used to be made of copper. Have you ever find like an old penny? Today they're made of zinc. zinc. City-states traded wine, olive oil, and other products. Nothing to write there. But olive oil, circle that. Olive oil is delicious. Ooh, I love when I make my pasta. I put it. I make. I fry up my ground turkey with a little bit of olive oil. Put a little bit of salt and pepper. Mmm. Trade made Greece a wealthy. Wealthy is the word. Trading center by 500 BC. Yes, it did. That's why they were able to build all those ships. Ships traveled to Egypt and other cities around the Black Sea. Black Sea is up here. All right, so this is Greece. Ships are going to Italy. Ships are going to Sicily. That's an island. Hey, I didn't mean to do that. Ships are going to Spain, France. What is today, France? Over to Turkey. Yummy, Turkey. The Hebrews, remember the Hebrews were over here? They went over there too, and why does that keep happening? And then to Egypt. And that's about it for that lesson. So let's see. Independent practice. At the bottom of the page, you need to explain the role of the marketplace. Remember, that was the agora. Agora. In ancient Greece, what did they do there, and how was this important to the city-states? Look back in your paper. It's there. Did trade help or hurt ancient Greece? Well, it didn't. It couldn't hurt them. I mean, how can it hurt them? That's weird. Please explain using specific examples to support your answer. Now, it doesn't say you need one sentence or two or a couple or a few or several, so it's up to you how many sentences you want to write. Heck, you could even write one good, awesome sentence if you wanted to. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Not like you had a choice. Goodbye, everybody.